even if it's just to look like they're keeping up, whether they're actually keeping up or not. And I think that's had a big effect on the league. You go back, I remember being at SEC Media Days 10 years ago, and we had 3, 4, 5 sometimes new coaches every year. It doesn't happen as much anymore. You don't see as much frequent turnover in the SEC. We still have these hot seat conversations all the time, but they're not actually firing people at that high of a rate in the SEC as they were, like I said, 10 years ago at the start of the Nick Saban era. I think part of that is because in order to look like they're keeping up with Alabama, so many coaches are being paid such huge money that it makes it very difficult to fire them because you have so much money tied up in these coaches. So you've got a lot more programs, I think, kind of putting up with
the
coaches.
Hot seat? Yeah, coaches being on the hot seat for a little bit longer.
They're putting up with coaches that they're not thrilled about because they can't afford to just fire them if they get unhappy. Look, for some people might call that a good thing that coaches aren't just being fired willy-nilly anymore, but I think you have a lot of fans that aren't absolutely thrilled with their team every year and that don't necessarily go into the season feeling like they have a chance at a national championship because they have a coach they don't really believe in, but they know their program can't really afford to do anything about it.
I must be hungry. My stomach's rumbling. All right, we're moving on. Next question. Eric Fitzgerald. Where do you view the evolution of the passing game with Hurts returning? How will the departure of the criminally underused Howard impact his growth? I think this is a great question. I do think that Jalen Hurts is going to grow as a passer. I think that, they did what they needed to last year to get the job done. And I think we talked about this before as well. Lane Kiffin obviously, might have been part of the reason for that. I think we did see some development and growth throughout the year with Jalen Hurts and his passing game. We got to see them open up the playbook a little more, but I think they kind of tried to keep him really in his comfort zone. I do think we're going to see that, and we discussed it before as well, is that you really hope that Brian Dable is going to focus on his skill set and getting him here in the summer and obviously in the offseason and really working on his passing game and focusing more on that going into the season so that when it's go time, he's ready to roll.
Yeah, that's something we've heard. We don't get to see the team during the summer, but we do hear things coming out that they're doing voluntary workouts all summer. The word from that seems to be positive for Jalen Hurts and his passing ability so far. We know that he was part of the Manning Passing Academy, which is a very highly regarded camp that sort of becomes a showcase for college quarterbacks as well. Rave reviews for Jalen Hurts and his passing ability out of that event from people who know what good passing is supposed to look like. So there's plenty of reasons to believe that Jalen Hurts has already taken big steps this offseason. They're going to need him to, for sure. I think there's a lot of things you can point to in that national championship game as reasons that Alabama wasn't able to put it away, but the lack of a downfield passing threat was certainly a big part of it. And I think they'll need it to be much more a part of what they do going forward if they want to be effective at everything that they do offensively. For that run game to continue to be so strong as it was last year, they have to believe that Jalen Hurts can hit you downfield at any given moment. So, it'll be a point of emphasis. I think you'll see them. They won't shy away from it in the opener, even though Florida State has a very good secondary.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're definitely going to see hopefully more balance on offense for those guys. And talking about those receivers that are coming in, not only Calvin Ridley, but some of those five-star guys making an early impact, hopefully being able to capitalize on Jalen Hurts' abilities to throw the football.
Yep.
And our last question.